You've been hearing the international community talk about that the government of La République du Cameroon, meaning Paul Biya, because he's a one-man government, that he should go and resolve the problem. I remember that even the American Undersecretary of State for Central Africa told La République that they shouldn't try to bully. I'm not quoting, but I'm paraphrasing, that resolving the problem is to their best interest. I think the Commonwealth, Patricia Scotland, who was down in the territory, was saying the same thing. Oh, dialogue, honest dialogue. The UN. I mean, everybody is saying dialogue. And when they talk of this dialogue, they're asking for Paul Biya to dialogue with the people of Ambazonia. And what has always baffled me about it is you're asking the fox to go dialogue with the hen that it uses for food. Now, how is that possible? And in the case of La République du Cameroon, Paul Biya actually created all these problems. And he declared the war. And he's been persecuting the war. So how do you ask Paul Biya to go and discuss or have a dialogue with Ambazonians? And these are people who started by asking for dialogue. That's what the lawyers were asking for. That's what the teachers asked for. They were looking for systems to resolve the problem peacefully, and he refused. So when they are forcing him now to go dialogue, I'm asking what kind of is that first of all, is that fair to ask Paul Biya to go and dialogue with the people he's been beating and waiting for them to die, and they're not dying, and he's getting frustrated now? When you ask him to go and dialogue, is that fair to him? And is that fair to the people of Ambazonia who have been suffering in the hands of this one man for over 35 years and longer, because he's been in the government for a longer time than 35 years? So is the international community really serious about this dialogue talk? Yeah. I want to hear what you think. By the way, I like a shirt.
Yeah, thank you, fellow viewers. We are happy to be back on air to talk to you about some of these pressing things. You know, when you talk about dialogue, when the people are asking for dialogue, it comes from people who are reasonable, some people who have some sense in them, and we demonstrated that ability of being reasonable when you rightfully described that we started by asking for dialogue to look into our problems. That is what reasonable people do. And these countries and organizations that you have enumerated that have been asking for this dialogue, they are looking at it in the sense that, yes, they have accepted that there is a problem, and that problem needs a solution. Unfortunately, their approach to that solution, to me, is twofold. When France asks for dialogue, and the United States asks for dialogue, in those two countries, organizations asking for dialogue, their intent is different.
Yeah, the intents are not the same.
They are not the same.
What the Americans mean dialogue is not what the French mean by dialogue.
Exactly. So you have to understand that, you have to see it that way. So when Patricia Scotland comes and says we need to sit down and talk, what they are saying is that these people have a legitimate problem. And given that you have been with these people for some time, these people voluntarily voted to come and join you people. And in the process of that, for over 57 years, these have been their experiences, and they think that certain things have to change. So a reasonable person would take a step back and say, oh yes, I think there is something here that needs to be examined. But La République du Cameroon is telling you that he's not going to sit down and talk with terrorists, because they consider us as terrorists, because their goal had been achieved. Whatever their intent was when they came together with us, it wasn't to live as a common family, but to annex us. So they are almost completing that process. So So they cannot be coming to sit down and dialogue with us. They just have to finish the process. So when France is saying that they should go and dialogue, what France is actually saying is that they should come and deceive us some more so that they continue with that enterprise. When Patricia Scotland or the United States ask for dialogue, what they are saying is that you people need to calm down, sit down, and look at some of the issues that are confronting you people, and then walk through it. In the process of walking through it, it might be that you people have to go your separate ways, or if it is possible, you people can stay together. So you have to look at those dialogues in those contexts, because they have different contexts when those two countries, organizations talk about dialogue.
Yes, and I'm glad that you very quickly separated that the meaning of dialogue for the Americans, for example, is different from that of the French. And if you look at what La République considers dialogue, they send Musonge, they send all these Anglophones that they've recruited among Anglophones, and most of these people come from people who I hate to use the word weak, and I want to use that word weak because in Brazzaville in 1944, the French specifically said the people that you select to become leaders in France-Afrique are weak, well-culturalized Africans who have accepted the French, who have swallowed France hook and sinker.
Yes.
To impose on the people who have assimilated. Assimilation is I think they were trying to even say go deeper than that. They were saying that select people who we have educated, who have accepted us, who is more like us.
No, who believe that home is in Paris.
Yes, and who see themselves as second class to the French. They've accepted that role. We will select them, we impose them on the people, and they, like I've said before, they said that the people will become legitimate once the people don't have anybody to solve their problems and start going to them. Then that's how they legitimize themselves. And so that's how the Ahidjo came to power. That's how Paul Biya came to power, and that's how some of these ministers that you said one time that they report to Paris directly were selected. And so Paul Biya turns around and does the same thing with Ambazonians. He turns and picks Philemon Yang, who is the son of Tandem Muna, who sold out to Ahidjo in order to compromise southern Cameroons, and then people like them. They pick them and then put them in power. So when the French say go and dialogue, they give a wing to Yaoundé, and then Yaoundé send Philemon Yang and people like them, and they go and blindfold. Actually, when they go, they bring money.
That's the only way that they know how to solve their problems. Because what you are defining or describing is something that we have talked about on this show a couple of times.
Yes.
Where we have talked about this clientele politicking.
Yes.
These are people who will be picked up from your community, who speak your dialect. They look like you. You went to school with them. Your children probably went to school with them, or you people grew up together. Then they will come to you and tell you that, no, look, let's sit down and talk about this thing. But they are coming from a different angle because they are serving a different master.
Yes.
They are not coming from where you stand. They have a different goal. So even though they are coming and speaking to you in the dialect and trying to convince you that, oh, we have been all brothers, why are we fighting and all those kind of things, it's because they have a different motive for doing that. So the people that you describe are people that the only people. Let me tell you this today, if you have never heard this. Those people that you said were selected, those are the leaders that came to power in France-Afrique, Africa, and are still alive.
And they're still alive.
Those who refused, who wanted to do something good for their people. You know the people I'm talking about.
Yes.
The Sankaras.
Yes.
The Patrice Lumumbas.
Yes.
And all those
the
people.
Omyobes.
The Omyobes.
Yes.
Where are those people?
They kill all of them.
They kill them.
Yes.
So, like you rightly said, these people are people who have accepted. They have sold their consciences. They have accepted that their people, they can transact their people for their own benefit.
And they do the bidding of France.
They do the bidding of France and keep the status quo. Remember that word. Maintain the status quo.
Yes.
So they will come and throw some smoke in the air, try to convince you, push a few things here and there, promise you a couple of ring roads, and do all those things so that you forget yourself.
And that ring road has not been constructed for over 40 years.
They keep telling us, after they dug it up, destroyed it, then they keep telling us every year, year in, year out, that we are going to build the ring road. So I want you, my brothers and sisters, papa them, mommy them, I want you people to look. Just go back. Some of them are talking about the tripartite conference. Go back and look at what we sat in Boya in 1993 and agreed on. That is some 25, 26 years ago. Go back and take that document, that Boya Declaration, and read that Boya Declaration. You will think that what Barrister Bogga and all the others, Agbobala, were talking about in 2016. It is like they just took that declaration and they were reading it. What I'm saying is that for 25 years after the Boya Declaration, that these people came and promised that they were doing something, they didn't do anything. So they always say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you allow yourself to be fooled twice, the shame will be on you, because I'm not there.
Yes, and as the international community has been saying, go and dialogue with the people of Ambazonia. Guess what Paul Biya has been doing? He's been sending the same military that has been murdering our people since last year. Mm-hmm. Paul Biya is sending them with envelopes to go and give the people. You saw this picture with this
Reverend sister.
With this Reverend sister, where they gave her an envelope. They're sending them to do very weird things right now. I think the people of Ambazonia begin to, like, they don't even understand what's going on.
There is going to be time for us to sit down and talk. And like somebody said, I think it's one of our barristers said, there are two things that are going to be discussed. I think Seseko said that too. It will be, that lawyer said, you will have to discuss, we have to decide whether we want to stay again with these people or we want to go. Those are the only two things.